Dear Pixie, you asked us what are ghosts, tulpas, shades, shadow people and phantoms, and are they something to be feared? These entities are fourth dimensional beings. In order to understand and process exactly what they are, one has to understand the fourth dimension and think within the fourth dimensional consciousness. Within your current Earth year, 2016, the awakened ones, starseeds, lightworkers, wayshowers, think predominantly within a fifth dimensional consciousness. Yet this dimensional upgrade has taken place on many levels throughout all dimensions. Within this consciousness shift upon your planet Earth, there is a vast shift in consciousness, in thinking, and in thought itself. This is an upgrade from third into fourth and fifth dimensional thinking. The upgrade in fourth dimensional thinking has created widespread interest in situations of a supernatural and paranormal nature and other phenomena. This indeed is more than an interest. It is a calling. It is a knowing. One cannot comprehend the vast consciousness that exists within the fourth dimension and beyond from the physical perspective alone. Most fifth dimensional thinkers will gravitate away from fourth dimensional energy, as it is the fifth dimension that calls them. They do not resonate with either fourth or third dimensional thinking alone, as they embrace unity consciousness. All dimensions for them therefore become one. Yet when a fifth dimensional thinking individual makes a conscious choice to move into their destiny and live their divine mission, they will move into the space of spiritual teacher or master in their field. When they move into these spaces within their reality, they will draw into their lives the questioning ones, the seekers, the newly awakened, the students and the apprentices. These individuals will undoubtedly move through a fourth dimensional awareness within their own awakening and will seek the knowledge and wish to unravel the mysteries of this dimension. You ask us of entities you know as ghosts, tulpas, shades, shadow people and phantoms. In one respect, these are names for the same or similar entities, for all projections of consciousness within a fourth dimensional reality are thought forms. Yet the thoughts are projected forth from different seed points, and this creates different types of thought forms. Many of these thought forms, if given enough energy to sustain them, will hold a consciousness of their own. They hold their own thoughts. They are capable of creating their own thought forms and acting as the seed point themselves, creating a fractal reality within the fourth dimension. Before we move into explanations of each of these forms, we would present to you a model of a fourth dimensional reality. For each aspect or realm within the fourth dimension holds different thought forms. Many of these thought forms can only exist within one realm within the fourth dimension. Others can move throughout the fourth dimensional realm, and some can move into a third dimensional reality and affect the third dimension if they have a host or energy source. If one visualizes a model, a stream, radio wave band, or energetic frequency, musicians amongst you will find it helpful to visualize the scale. Within this stream, radio wave band, or scale are many, infinite in actuality, harmonic waves. If one visualizes a boundary to this wave band, with another wave band moving upwards from the original wave, and another moving downwards from the original wave, one has a very basic, simplified model of the fourth dimension. If we visualize the wave band moving upwards as being within daylight, and the wave band moving downwards as being within shadow, this gives more depth to the template. When we say this is a basic model, indeed we do mean a basic model. Yet even in this simplified presentation, The model is mathematically and geometrically correct. We could add to the visualization by populating the daylight waveband with thought forms of love, joy, bliss, compassion, and benevolence, and populating the shadow waveband with thought forms of fear, despair, greed, and malevolence. The daylight and shadow wavebands are superimposed upon each other, yet the thought forms that exist within either waveband do not cross over to the other waveband unless they hold multi-frequencies. We would add that the daylight and shadow wavebands do not represent good, bad, right, wrong, or high, low. Each waveband and each thought form holds its own value, follows its own purpose or path, each as valid as the other. There is much learning that takes place within humanity from both daylight and shadow wavebands and the thought forms associated with them. Separating the wavebands within your visualized model is most helpful when you desire full understanding of this concept. Yet in truth, these wavebands are superimposed upon one another. The wavebands themselves are as much of a thought form as the individualized beings within. The waveband itself holds consciousness and is itself a living entity able to seed its own thought forms. We return now to your original question: ghosts, tulpas, shades, shadow people, and phantoms. These are essentially one and the same, yet we can break these down for you somewhat. We present explanations for these entities based on your collective interpretation of them. Then moving into the thought form created by your collective interpretation. Now you have the basic model of the daylight and shadow wavebands. This will assist in your perception and understanding as you process our breakdown of these entities. We feel the most appropriate label for the shadow thought forms is shade. Whilst shadow people are often seen within the periphery of one's physical sight, they are seen or felt by those who are familiar with astral travel, out-of-body experience. The shadow people seen in a fleeting moment within peripheral vision are representatives of one's own psyche, alerting you to the presence of the shadow and the surfacing of the shadow aspect. Very prevalent and most necessary within one who walks a path of enlightenment and expansion. Shadow people seen within the astral realms and by those with clairvoyant sight within an individual's matrix field are simply individuals who are not yet, for whatever reason, to be shown. They stand in shadow, for they have not yet entered a person's reality upon the physical level. They may be sitting within the past, present, or future aspect of the individual, but they are always presented as a potential. A shadow person within the astral fields in the past is he or she you did not meet. The shadow person within the astral level's future is he or she you are yet to meet. Both of these presentations can represent any kind of being, usually human, but on occasion extraterrestrial, ultradimensional, elemental. A shadow person in someone's present is he or she that you cannot see, which is a very different type of presentation. Often this type of thought form, or tulpa, is a presentation used by clairvoyant psychic individuals as part of the overall analysis or reading of another individual's fields. When presented in this form, it is the interpretation of the reader themselves that is relevant and in most alignment. No two presenting shadow people may be represented in the same way from this perspective. The world of the thought form, or tulpa, is most fractal, multifaceted, and multi-layered. When we refer to a shade, this again would be an astral entity, rarely seen on a physical level. The shade can be a most helpful thought form, or tulpa, for often acts as a guide, albeit a temporary and transient one, for an individual. A shade does not stand in shadow, but presents as a mirror image of another individual, with differences. When astral journeying is undertaken within balance, one may meet actual representatives of individuals. These individuals will look exactly as presented within the physical realm. One may meet the higher self aspect of a person. This aspect may look exactly like the physical person, or present within a totally different form. This is the case both for those still in incarnation, those who have passed on from an incarnation, and extraterrestrial, ultra-dimensional, and elemental beings. A shade is an aspect, a thought form aspect of the actual person, but it is more like a copy, if you will. This is not a ghost or a tulpa exiting physical incarnation. This is a thought form that looks and sounds like the person, but it is not them. The shade can be a trickster, there to mislead. The shade can be a genuine guide, standing in, if you will, for the original, actual individual, as they may be unavailable. The shade may hold little mass, meaning it will dissipate as quickly as it forms, like a form of astral smoke, if you will. Or the shade may hold high mass and be a most useful, intelligent, helpful entity. We could say much on the subject of shades. Again, we point out the multi-leveled, multi-layered, multi-faceted presentations here. If you understand that all you can think of has already been thought, all you can imagine already exists, then you will grasp the depth of the reality we speak of. The ghost, based on your collective interpretation, is the thought form or tulpa of an exiting incarnation. Individuals go through a set of stages, and indeed a journey, as they pass from physical life and move through the death experience. Some souls remain attached to certain people, places, and situations, and an aspect of them, we could explain this as a holographic presentation of them with emotional memory, remains within form attached to the physical realm. This does not mean that the soul of the person has not moved into the light and begun their next stage of the journey. It means an aspect of them holding emotional memory has remained focused within its perspective upon the physical realm. This acts as an anchor of sorts for the overall soul, preventing full release for that soul, hence the importance of work known as spirit release and similar forms of spirit therapy. Those in physical form can assist spirit just as those in spirit assist physical beings. The ghost acts like an imprint, if you will, like a recording, often playing itself out over and over again within a loop, stuck within a window of reality. This can occur for many, many years, for there is no linear time within the spirit realm we speak of. Hence, hauntings and paranormal activities upon your planet that can be felt, seen, and measured. Similar to the shade, the ghost is not the person. The ghost is a thought form or tulpa. The tulpa is not just a ghost or a shade. The tulpa can be created as a conscious thought form, and if this tulpa is given enough mass, enough focus, it can stand as a useful companion, assistant, friend, advisor, and guide for he or she who has consciously created it. We give the example here of your Father Christmas or Santa Claus, a tulpa holding high mass, so much so that this particular tulpa, in various guises, holds almost an individualized consciousness and an individual point of perspective. Even a tulpa of this level does not hold the mass of a soul. Yet a tulpa can get to the point where the individualization is such that it can incarnate and become a soul. This is most rare indeed. Yet rare though it may be, it can be done and has been done and is being done, for creation is creation. Thought and creation are one and the same from the higher perspective. The phantom, based on your collective interpretation, stands as the exact same presentation as the ghost. Yet the exception here is that the phantom, based on your collective interpretation, can also mean figment of one's imagination, as in that which does not exist. From this perspective, the phantom would also be a created thought form, as well as a ghost, all falling under the term of the tulpa. These labels are interchangeable, and other labels such as spectre or apparition still hold a place within your collective interpretations of these beings. We would bring your attention to the question, are these presentations something to be feared? Whether they are to be feared or not is solely dependent upon your own interpretation of the particular presented thought form. Even tulpas holding high negative mass can be influenced and transformed by physical individuals holding positive love light frequency. Therefore, these beings hold a negative or a positive frequency depending on intent and interpretation. The more the fifth dimensional waveband is created, and the more light that is focused within this waveband, the more the fourth dimensional entities will dissipate and indeed transform, upgrading the entire dimensional field. This, of course, is happening within the very moment you know as now, and this is known as the ascension. We are the white-winged collective consciousness of 9.